Hello, my name is David Vizcaino, and I'm here to introduce the BOLO Flyer Creator, created by myself and Yamila Fleitas, with guidance from Major Jason Cohen of the Pinecrest Police Department and Dr. Masood Sajadi. Currently, when a police officer is called to a crime scene, a paper report containing information pertaining to the crime or event is filled out. This report ends up as what is called a BOLO, or Be on the Lookout flyer. BOLO reports contain all sorts of information important to a case, such as, but not limited to, name, address, weight, height, and even an image of the person of interest. After the officer that responds to the scene finishes the report, a copy is given to their supervisor, who then reviews the report and approves it. Upon completion and approval, the file is generally exported to a PDF, where it is distributed to detectives, officers, and other police agencies via mass email. This process is tedious and expensive because of the time it takes to successfully create and deliver a BOLO and the number of people involved with the creation of the final BOLO. For example, if a very serious crime happens on a late Friday evening, all the personnel will receive the notification on Monday. Furthermore, even after a BOLO is received, it can get lost within the massive amounts of emails officers may be receiving, several of which may also be other BOLOs. Our system was designed to reduce the amount of time it took from when a crime is reported to when a BOLO is distributed. This needed to be done in a way that would allow first responders to easily create the BOLOs. An officer, shown here as a Tier 1 user, needed to be able to create a BOLO on-site from their mobile device, be able to preview, attach relevant information, and receive input from those at the site. A Tier 2 user, a supervisor, needed to be able to reject any BOLOs from their department, even if they were already created, which makes for a passive acceptance and active rejection system, while still having access to all the rights a regular officer has, but is also able to edit all BOLOs belonging to their agency. A Tier 1 user, an admin, needs to be able to handle the entire system, which includes control over all BOLOs and all agencies, as well as user registration and other sensitive tasks. Just like a Tier 2 and Tier 1 user, the administrator also has the ability to create and edit all BOLOs, although administrators are able to edit all BOLOs regardless of agency. BOLO Flyer Creator's frontend was implemented with HTML, JavaScript, and Ajax with jQuery for BOLO previewing. Bootstrap was used to assist in the styling of the pages, especially for mobile devices, along with WordPress. The backend was coded in PHP, with WordPress also providing some backend support. In order to send emails with the attached BOLOs, PHP Mailer by Marcus Boynton was used, and the PDFs themselves were created using MPDF. Lastly, the database was a MySQL database, which was included in the software stack provided by WAMP. This diagram shows how our system was deployed. As you can see, our software was designed to support both desktop computers and mobile devices, both of which happen to connect via the same method, HTTP, aka the web. After the firewall allows the connection through, the device, or devices, are connected to an Apache server hosting WordPress, which in turn hosts our code. Any changes done to the database, such as creating or removing a BOLO, are done via a connection to the MySQL database. In this diagram, we can see that both the database and the server are in the same device, BOLO host. But it is entirely possible, and quite easy in fact, to have the database be in one computer and the Apache server in another computer. This diagram thus shows our client-server architecture and gives hints to our model view controller pattern. This class diagram shows how several of our major classes were connected and relied upon each other. As you can see from this diagram, no class inherited from another. Each class had a simple association with another class, but there were no real class dependencies that were system critical. The diagram also shows how everything was implemented using a model view controller scheme, with every important controller being connected to only a single model and view. The following two sequence diagrams are only brief examples of many of the use cases that were implemented during this development cycle. This sequence diagram for user story 459, the ability for admins to edit agency info, shows the important calls triggered when an administrator is going to edit agency information. This diagram shows how a selection in the view triggers a response from the controller to the model. The two calls, which total 3 arrows, to retrieve data for editing and storing data, show this model view controller layout in the diagram. User story 89, previewing BOLOs before creation. This diagram shows how the preview function works behind the scenes also. This specific use case was the most difficult to implement for myself, yet behind the scenes it has one of the easiest calls to follow as it uses slightly different technologies to the rest of the pages, mainly Ajax and jQuery. Ajax and jQuery allowed the creation of a temporary preview page that is shown to the user in a modal. Testing of our code was also done. This is the test case for user story 89, previewing BOLOs before creation. User story 89, once again, was tested in both a sunny and rainy day test. This sunny day test was conducted on both mobile devices and desktops, with the result being a pop-up on a desktop and a download of a PDF on a mobile device, although this feature was later changed so that both the desktop has a pop-up and a mobile device opens a new window. User story 542, filtering a BOLO by its creator. This sunny day test is for a feature that filters all BOLOs to display only those created by the current user. This test was also successful, although it was so after several rounds of debugging. In conclusion, the BOLO flyer creator was a success. Just about all user stories requested were implemented, and all milestones were achieved in this development cycle, creating a complete product. We were able to improve upon the work started by former FIU students the previous semester by adding several new features to make the use of the system easier, while also adding new features for the user. These three screens show several different examples of new features. The large screen on the left shows the redesigned homepage, which now shows when a BOLO has been updated and shows how a BOLO can be recovered even after it has been archived. The screenshot on the upper right shows the new email system, which now sends faster and has less of a delay between the creation of a BOLO and receiving of an email. Also, the new email system attaches a PDF of the created BOLO. Lastly, the image on the lower right shows how you're now able to download a PDF of any previously created BOLO. This has been an introduction to Pinecrest Police Department's BOLO Flyer Creator.